Hollywood's golden age wasn't just about the films, it was about the larger-than-life stars and the lavish homes that embodied their success. Perched in Beverly Hills or along the sun-drenched coastline, these mansions weren't merely homes. They were monuments to an era of unmatched glamour and extravagance. These estates served as the backdrops to legendary parties, scandalous romances, and personal triumphs. But fame, as fleeting as it is dazzling, couldn't shield these palatial homes from the passage of time. Just like the stars whose careers once burned bright, these mansions faced their own curtain calls. Today, we uncover the stories of the Hollywood mansions that were demolished, their fates mirroring the rise and fall of their famous owners. Pickfair Mansion. Pickfair Mansion was much more than a home. It was a cultural icon of Hollywood's golden age, often called the White House of Hollywood. Built in 1919 by legendary silent film stars Douglas Fairbanks and Mary Pickford, the sprawling estate in Beverly Hills stood as a testament to their influence, power, and stardom. Designed in a Tudor Revival style, the mansion featured 25 lavishly decorated rooms, including a grand dining hall, sweeping lawns, manicured gardens, and a tennis court. The house, perched on a 15-acre property, radiated an air of sophistication and exclusivity. Pickfair quickly became the social hub of Hollywood, hosting parties that were nothing short of legendary. Among the frequent guests were luminaries like Charlie Chaplin, Greta Garbo, and Albert Einstein. Even Winston Churchill, during a visit, famously described Pickfair as a castle fit for a king. One of its most talked-about events was the extravagant party thrown by Fairbanks and Pickford to celebrate their return from a European honeymoon. The event blended Hollywood glamour with royal elegance, welcoming both film industry icons and international dignitaries. Beyond its parties, Pickfair played host to important private moments in Hollywood's history. It was said that studio deals and film ideas were often born within its walls, as Fairbanks and Pickford were not only actors but also influential producers who shaped the early film industry. Pickfair was also a retreat for the couple, where they escaped the chaos of Hollywood, basking in their idyllic love story, at least for a time. The fairy tale began to unravel in the mid-1930s when the marriage of Hollywood's golden couple ended in divorce. Mary Pickford retained the mansion but lived a quieter life, retreating from the spotlight and the public eye. Over the decades, as the glamour of the golden age faded, Pickfair remained a cherished symbol of Hollywood's past. However, the mansion's fate took a controversial turn in the 1980s when singer Pia Zadora purchased it. Her decision to demolish Pickfair in 1990 sent shockwaves through Hollywood, sparking debates about preserving historic landmarks. Zadora claimed the house was beyond repair, while others accused her of destroying a piece of cultural heritage to build a modern structure in its place. Although the original mansion is gone, its legacy endures. Pickfair remains a symbol of the era's grandeur and opulence, reflecting the extraordinary lives of its owners and the magic of Hollywood's golden years. The stories and legends associated with the estate continue to captivate, ensuring that its spirit lives on in the lore of Tinseltown. The Beverly Hills Mansion of Harold Lloyd. Harold Lloyd, one of the silent era's comedic geniuses, built his estate, Green Acres, in 1928 as a testament to his success. Spanning 44 rooms on a 15-acre property, this Beverly Hills mansion was a marvel of its time, featuring a 9-hole golf course, a 900-foot man-made stream, and meticulously landscaped gardens. Lloyd, often referred to as the king of daredevil comedy, hosted grand parties that became the envy of Hollywood's elite. From lavish soirees with costumed themes to charity galas attended by luminaries like Clark Gable and Carole Lombard, Green Acres was a hub of old Hollywood sophistication. Lloyd's estate also became the backdrop for some of his own films, adding cinematic history to its legacy. Despite its grandeur, the estate was more than a party venue. It was a family home where Lloyd raised his children and indulged his passion for gardening and innovation. His wife, Mildred Davis, often worked with designers to keep the estate at the cutting edge of style. After Lloyd's passing in 1971, the estate's fate took a downturn. Portions of the land were sold off for development, and by the 1980s, the once grand mansion had become a shadow of its former self. The final blow came when the remaining property was divided, and much of the original architecture was razed to make way for luxury homes. Today, only fragments of the original estate remain, a poignant reminder of Lloyd's legacy, the Norma Talmadge estate. Norma Talmadge, one of the most glamorous and successful stars of the silent film era, built her Beverly Hills estate in the early 1920s at the height of the Jazz Age's glitz and glamour. Designed in an exquisite Spanish style, the mansion became a beacon of Hollywood's opulence and a reflection of Talmadge's larger-than-life persona. Its architecture featured ornate courtyards with lush landscaping, flowing fountains, and a magnificent grand ballroom that became the heart of the estate. The home was an ideal setting for hosting lavish parties, which Talmadge often used to bring together the most influential names in the film industry. The estate quickly became one of the most sought-after destinations in Hollywood's social scene. Talmadge's soirees, complete with live orchestras, gourmet dining, and elegant decor, drew luminaries such as Rudolph Valentino, Gloria Swanson, and Cecil B. DeMille. The estate was alive with the vibrancy of the Jazz Age, with music, laughter, and the scent of fresh flowers filling its grand halls. One of the estate's most celebrated events was the wedding of Talmadge's sister, Constance, to financier Al Schwalb, an affair that captivated the attention of Hollywood and society alike. The mansion was not just a residence, but also a symbol of Talmadge's reign as one of Hollywood's queens. It reflected her charm, charisma, and impeccable taste, blending old-world elegance with the modern luxury of the roaring 1920s. However, as Hollywood transitioned into the age of talkies, Talmadge's career began to decline. The actress retired from the screen, and with her absence, the estate slowly lost its vibrant spirit. By the 1950s, the house changed hands multiple times, with successive owners struggling to preserve its grandeur. The changing taste of the mid-20th century, coupled with the rise of modern architecture, left the mansion outdated and neglected. By the 1960s, the once celebrated estate was demolished to make way for contemporary housing developments, erasing a piece of Hollywood's golden age. While the mansion no longer exists, its legacy endures as a symbol of the extravagance and creativity of early Hollywood. The stories of its legendary parties and the luminaries who walked its halls continue to captivate, preserving the memory of Norma Talmadge and her dazzling Jazz Age retreat. The Errol Flynn estate. Errol Flynn's Hollywood Hills mansion wasn't just a home, it was a playground for the swashbuckling star's larger-than-life persona. Built in the 1930s, the estate, often called Mulholland Farm, reflected Flynn's love of adventure, luxury, and entertaining. Perched on a sprawling hillside, the mansion featured a rustic yet lavish design with sprawling rooms, sweeping views of Los Angeles, and amenities that would rival any studio backlot. Flynn's parties were the stuff of legend, drawing some of Hollywood's biggest names. Known for his charm and roguish personality, Flynn entertained luminaries like Clark Gable, Ava Gardner, and Humphrey Bogart. His soirees often included live music, dancing, and, as rumor had it, escapades that rivaled his film roles in daring and drama. Mulholland Farm also boasted a private pool, stables, and hidden passageways, adding a layer of mystique to its reputation. However, as Flynn's star began to wane in the 1940s, so too did his financial stability. By the 1950s, Flynn was forced to sell the estate. Subsequent owners included a series of developers and private buyers, but none managed to restore the mansion to its former glory. By the 1980s, the property had fallen into significant disrepair, and much of its original structure was beyond saving. The estate was eventually demolished, replaced by a modern mansion. Today, only the legend of Flynn's wild nights and opulent lifestyle keeps the memory of Mulholland Farm alive. Jean Harlow's Beverly Hills home. Jean Harlow's home in Beverly Hills was more than a residence. It was a shrine to the glamour and tragedy of one of Hollywood's most iconic stars. Built in the 1930s, the house was a classic example of Georgian architecture, blending understated elegance with the decadence expected of a Golden Age star. Harlow moved into the mansion during the height of her career, where she entertained co-stars, directors, and Hollywood's elite. The home also bore witness to Harlow's whirlwind romance with MGM executive Paul Byrne. Their 1932 wedding was a major Hollywood event, solidifying Harlow's status as the blonde bombshell who could capture both audiences and the hearts of powerful men. However, the fairy tale image of their life together was shattered just months later when Byrne tragically died under mysterious circumstances at the mansion. The ensuing scandal cast a shadow over the home, which many believed to be haunted by the tragedy. Harlow continued to live there until her own untimely death in 1937 at the age of 26. After her passing, the house became a symbol of the Golden Age's darker side, where fame and fortune couldn't shield stars from heartbreak and loss. Over the decades, the house fell into neglect, with its storied past overshadowed by modernity. By the mid-20th century, the house was demolished to make way for new developments, leaving behind only whispers of the glamour and tragedy it once held. The Greta Garbo estate. Greta Garbo's retreat in Beverly Hills was a perfect reflection of her enigmatic persona. Built in the 1930s, the home was elegant but not ostentatious, blending Mediterranean architecture with the quiet sophistication Garbo was known for. The reclusive actress, who famously declared she wanted to be left alone, used the property as a sanctuary away from the prying eyes of the press and her adoring public. The house became a gathering spot for an exclusive circle of Garbo's closest friends, including writers, directors, and other stars. Unlike the grand parties of her contemporaries, gatherings at Garbo's estate were intimate and understated, often centered around intellectual conversations and private screenings of films. It was said that her garden, filled with exotic plants and fountains, provided a peaceful backdrop for her meditative walks and reflective moments. As Garbo retired from Hollywood in the early 1940s, she sold the house and retreated further into anonymity. The estate changed hands several times over the years, with many owners struggling to maintain its original charm. By the late 20th century, the property was deemed outdated, and developers chose to demolish it to build modern luxury homes. Though Garbo's estate no longer exists, its memory endures as a symbol of the reclusive star's unique place in Hollywood history, apart from the spotlight, but never forgotten. John Barrymore's Bella Vista. John Barrymore's Bella Vista estate, perched in the hills of Beverly Hills, was a fitting residence for the great profile of Hollywood's golden age. Built in the 1920s, the Mediterranean-style mansion was as dramatic and opulent as the actor himself, featuring ornate interiors, a sweeping staircase, and a lush garden that rivaled any European chateau. Barrymore, known for his theatrical brilliance and flamboyant lifestyle, hosted extravagant parties that became the talk of Tinseltown. The estate was home to some of Hollywood's most infamous gatherings, where stars like W.C. Fields, Errol Flynn, and Greta Garbo rubbed elbows with literary figures and socialites. Barrymore's penchant for drama extended to these soirees, which often featured impromptu performances, lavish feasts, and endless champagne. Bella Vista was also a creative haven for Barrymore, who used its serene environment to prepare for his iconic stage and screen roles. However, Barrymore's fortunes declined in the 1930s due to personal and financial troubles. Unable to maintain the property, he sold it, marking the beginning of the estate's slow decline. Over the next few decades, Bella Vista passed through various owners, each struggling to preserve its grandeur. By the 1960s, the mansion had deteriorated, and developers decided to demolish it to make way for new construction. Today, Barrymore's Bella Vista exists only in photographs and the memories of those who attended its legendary gatherings, a relic of Hollywood's most theatrical era. William O. Jenkins House. Nestled in the sun-drenched sprawl of Los Angeles, the William O. Jenkins House, located at 641 South Irving Boulevard, once stood as a striking emblem of Hollywood's golden age. Built between 1919 and 1924, this Mediterranean-style mansion captured the opulence and ambition of the time, becoming as iconic as the stars on the Walk of Fame. Its grandeur wasn't just a display of wealth, but a celebration of the glamour and influence that defined early Hollywood. The mansion was the brainchild of William O. Jenkins, a prominent businessman who amassed his fortune through sugar plantations in Mexico. Reflecting his success, Jenkins designed the house with Mediterranean flair, incorporating steel-reinforced walls, concrete foundations, and brick-lined interiors. These modern construction methods ensured the house's resilience, making it an architectural marvel of its time. However, despite its splendor, the Jenkins family's stay was short-lived. After only a year, they returned to Mexico, leaving behind a house that would go on to have a far greater legacy. In 1936, the mansion began a new chapter when it was purchased by oil magnate J. Paul Getty. Though Getty never resided there, the house became an unusual parting gift for his ex-wife, transforming it into a residence with a story of its own. Over the years, the mansion transitioned from a private home to a cultural landmark, achieving cinematic immortality as Norma Desmond's mysterious and majestic abode in Sunset Boulevard. The film's critical acclaim and enduring legacy solidified the house's place in Hollywood history, with its dramatic facade becoming an icon of the silver screen. Unfortunately, progress spares no legend. In 1957, the Jenkins house was demolished to make way for an office building, symbolizing the city's relentless drive toward modernization. Yet, its spirit remains alive, immortalized in one of Hollywood's most celebrated films. The William O. Jenkins house serves as a poignant reminder of an era where architecture and cinema intertwined to create enduring symbols of Tinseltown's glamour and drama. Falcon Lair. During the lively Jazz Age, when Hollywood's silent films captivated audiences worldwide, few stars shone as brightly as Rudolph Valentino. Known for his roles in The Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse and The Sheik, Valentino was the epitome of 1920s charm and magnetism. To celebrate his success, he purchased Falcon Lair, a stunning Moorish-style mansion in Beverly Hills, for $175,000, a staggering sum at the time. Falcon Lair wasn't just a home, it was a testament to Valentino's stardom. Perched high above Benedict Canyon, the estate was a secluded retreat where the actor could escape the pressures of fame. Inside, it was filled with elegant furnishings, priceless artwork, and unique antiques. The gardens outside were equally breathtaking, with rows of Italian cypress trees lining lush pathways and an ornate garden reminiscent of old-world Italy. Valentino even built custom stables to house his 4 Arabian horses, adding to the estate's grandeur. The mansion was also meant to be a romantic hideaway for Valentino and his wife, Natasha Rambova. Unfortunately, their marriage quickly fell apart, and the joy of Falcon Lair was short-lived. Just months later, in 1926, Valentino tragically passed away at the age of 31, leaving the mansion as a bittersweet symbol of his brief but brilliant life. After his death, Falcon Lair became a haven for other notable figures. Tobacco heiress Doris Duke and actress Gloria Swanson were among its many residents, each adding their own story to the mansion's legacy. Over the decades, however, the estate fell into disrepair. By the early 2000s, most of the original structure had been demolished, leaving behind only fragments, gates, a fence, and a garage as echoes of its past. Though the physical mansion is mostly gone, the memory of Falcon Lair lives on. It remains a powerful reminder of Valentino's glamour, romance, and the golden age of Hollywood he helped define. The Garden of Allah. In 1913, an unassuming estate was built by developer William H. Hay, but its true transformation came when it caught the eye of Broadway star Alla Nazimova. With her flair for drama and creativity, Nazimova reimagined the property as something far greater than a home. She christened it the Garden of Allah, inspired by both her name and a popular novel by Robert Smythe Hickens. This estate, located in the heart of Hollywood, was destined to become a legendary hotspot. By the mid-1920s, as the Roaring Twenties reached their peak, Nazimova faced financial difficulties. Ever resourceful, she turned her private retreat into a thriving business. In 1927, the Garden of Allah was reborn as a luxurious hotel, complete with 30 charming villas surrounding the original mansion. The main house became the centerpiece of the property, featuring a lively restaurant and bar that welcomed Hollywood's biggest stars. What started as a financial necessity soon blossomed into a cultural hub, attracting actors, writers, and dreamers alike. The hotel quickly became the place to be for Hollywood's elite. Guests like Humphrey Bogart, Ginger Rogers, Ronald Reagan, and Marlene Dietrich made their way to its cozy bungalows. Even F. Scott Fitzgerald, the famed author of The Great Gatsby, found inspiration under the shade of its palms. The infamous pool, shaped like a black lagoon, became a symbol of the hotel's eccentric charm and decadent lifestyle. But all good things come to an end. By the 1950s, the Garden of Allah had fallen into disrepair. Years of changing ownership and neglect left it a shadow of its former self. In 1959, the curtains closed on this Hollywood icon as the property was demolished to make way for a modern development. A final farewell party was held, where guests dressed in costumes to celebrate its golden past one last time. Although the Garden of Allah no longer stands, its legacy remains vivid in Hollywood's memory. It was more than just a hotel. It was a sanctuary for creativity, indulgence, and the free spirit of an era that will never be forgotten. Buster Keaton's Italian Villa. In the heart of Beverly Hills, known for its luxurious homes and celebrity residence, Buster Keaton built a home that reflected his genius and imagination. Just a short distance from the Beverly Hills Hotel, Keaton's Italian-style villa, constructed in 1924, was a masterpiece of Mediterranean revival architecture. Designed by Jean Verge, the villa captured the charm and elegance of Italy with its asymmetrical lines, a striking tower, and rustic features reminiscent of the countryside, all infused with Californian flair. Covering over 10,000 square feet, it became one of the most iconic homes of Hollywood's golden era. The estate wasn't merely a residence, it was a hub for Hollywood's elite. Keaton, famous for his silent film comedies, turned the villa into a playground for stars. He hosted grand parties where guests such as Charlie Chaplin, Rudolph Valentino, Mary Pickford, and Douglas Fairbanks gathered to enjoy the estate's lavish amenities. The Roman-style swimming pool served as the centerpiece of these events, while the tennis court echoed with the laughter of Hollywood royalty. The property also featured unique touches like an aviary and kennels, showcasing Keaton's playful and unconventional personality. However, the grandeur of the villa didn't last. The 1930s brought financial struggles for Keaton as his career declined, forcing him to sell the property. Over the years, the villa fell into disrepair, a shadow of its former glory. By the mid-20th century, developers deemed the land more valuable than the home, leading to its demolition to make way for modern buildings. Although the villa is gone, its memory lives on as a symbol of Keaton's brilliance and the glamour of old Hollywood. It remains an enduring piece of history, capturing the charm and extravagance of an era long past. Marion Davies' beachfront estate. Overlooking the sunlit waters of Santa Monica, Marion Davies' beachfront estate stood as one of the most extravagant homes of Hollywood's golden age. Built in the 1920s by renowned architect Julia Morgan, the estate reflected the wealth and glamour of its era. Marion Davies, a silent film star beloved for her charm and wit, designed the home to be a perfect blend of luxury and hospitality, making it a favorite gathering spot for Hollywood royalty. Spanning 5 acres of prime beachfront property, the estate boasted over 100 rooms, including opulent living spaces, guest quarters, and a ballroom adorned with gleaming marble. The grounds were no less impressive, with meticulously landscaped gardens, a tennis court, and a swimming pool so massive that it rivaled those of luxury resorts. The pool was said to be one of the largest in Southern California at the time, and often served as the backdrop for Davies' legendary parties. These soirees were attended by the biggest stars of the day, including Clark Gable, Greta Garbo, Jean Harlow, and even political figures who enjoyed evenings filled with music, dancing, and laughter. Her gatherings became the epitome of Hollywood indulgence, earning her estate a reputation as the epicenter of glamour. Despite its grandeur, the estate couldn't escape the inevitable changes of time. As the film industry transitioned into the era of television and extravagance faded, the mansion fell into decline. By the 1960s, the once vibrant estate had become a shadow of its former self, its glory dulled by neglect and changing tastes. Efforts to preserve the property were unsuccessful, and the iconic estate was demolished in the 1990s, erasing a piece of Hollywood history. However, the site wasn't forgotten. In 2009, the Annenberg Community Beach House was constructed on the property, blending modern architecture with elements that paid tribute to Davies' legacy. Today, it serves as a community space, allowing visitors to connect with the spirit of the estate and the vibrant history it represents. While Marion Davies' mansion no longer stands, its legacy endures as a shining example of the opulence and excitement that defined a bygone era. The Marion Davies and William Randolph Hearst Beverly Hills Mansion. The Beverly House, located in Beverly Hills, was one of the most extravagant estates of Old Hollywood, famously owned by media mogul William Randolph Hearst and his longtime partner, actress Marion Davies. Built in the 1920s, this sprawling Spanish-style mansion boasted 18 bedrooms, 25 bathrooms, a private cinema, tennis courts, a two-story library, and even a nightclub. It sprawled across 3.5 acres of prime Beverly Hills real estate, serving as a beacon of Hollywood's golden age luxury. The estate was not just a home, but a cultural epicenter for the elite. Hearst and Davies were renowned for hosting lavish parties that drew both Hollywood stars and political icons. These gatherings were the epitome of sophistication, with A-list celebrities like Charlie Chaplin, Greta Garbo, and Clark Gable rubbing shoulders with influential politicians. The estate also gained notoriety when it hosted John F. Kennedy and Jacqueline Kennedy during their honeymoon in 1953. The home's iconic status only grew when it was featured in legendary films such as The Godfather, where its grand dining room served as the backdrop for one of cinema's most famous scenes. Despite its rich history, the mansion's fate became uncertain in the later decades of the 20th century. After passing through several owners, financial disputes and redevelopment proposals threatened the estate's future. Though technically not fully demolished, significant renovations and alterations in the 21st century stripped the mansion of much of its original charm. The transformations effectively erased the historical ambiance that once defined this iconic Hollywood landmark. Today, while the structure still exists, its current form is a far cry from the glamorous estate that once represented the pinnacle of Hollywood sophistication. Its legacy, however, remains deeply tied to the extravagant lifestyles and influential figures of Tinseltown's golden era. The Thomas Ince Mansion, Casa del Mar. Thomas Ince, a trailblazing filmmaker often called the father of the Western, constructed one of the most stunning homes of Hollywood's early days, Casa del Mar. Located in the Pacific Palisades and built in the 1920s, this Spanish colonial-style estate epitomized the luxury of the era. With its breathtaking views of the Pacific Ocean, expansive gardens, and luxurious interiors, it was a symbol of Ince's remarkable success in shaping early Hollywood. Casa del Mar became a hotspot for the Hollywood elite. Ince's reputation as a generous and hospitable host brought stars such as Charlie Chaplin, Rudolph Valentino, and Gloria Swanson to his estate. The mansion often served as the backdrop for exclusive parties where the film industry's biggest names gathered to socialize and discuss future projects. Its secluded location, combined with its grandeur, made it an oasis for the stars seeking refuge from the prying eyes of the public. However, the mansion also became shrouded in mystery and scandal. In 1924, Ince died under suspicious circumstances aboard William Randolph Hearst's yacht during a party attended by luminaries like Hearst and Marion Davies. The exact cause of his death remains unclear, with rumors swirling about poisoned champagne and a potential love triangle involving Hearst. This dark incident added an air of intrigue to the estate, forever tying it to one of Hollywood's earliest unsolved mysteries. Following Ince's death, the mansion changed hands several times, but eventually fell into neglect as the years passed. By the mid-20th century, Casa del Mar was no longer seen as a desirable residence, and its location was ripe for redevelopment. The mansion was eventually demolished to make way for modern housing developments, erasing yet another piece of old Hollywood's storied past. Although Casa del Mar no longer stands, its legacy lives on through the tales of its glamorous parties and the enigmatic life of Thomas Ince. It remains a reminder of the fleeting nature of Hollywood's golden years, where grandeur and mystery often walked hand in hand. Hollywood's golden age may have faded, but its spirit lives on through the stories of its stars and the homes they left behind. These mansions, once the epitome of luxury and success, were more than just places to live. They were symbols of ambition, creativity, and the pursuit of the American dream. From the grand gatherings at Pickfair Mansion to the mysteries of Casa del Mar, each estate had a unique story, reflecting the highs and lows of the stars who graced their halls. Though the wrecking ball has erased many of these landmarks, their legacies remain deeply embedded in Hollywood's lore. They remind us of an era when glamour ruled, and every corner of Beverly Hills and the Hollywood Hills seemed to sparkle with the magic of the silver screen. These homes, now gone, continue to inspire fascination, representing the fleeting nature of fame and the enduring allure of old Hollywood. As the curtain falls on these architectural masterpieces, we remember them not for their demise, but for the brilliance they once held. The stories of these mansions and their owners are timeless, living in films, books, and the imaginations of those who still dream of the Golden Age. Hollywood's past may be out of sight, but it will never be out of mind.